Really interesting. Jim Ryan, now semi-trucks are self-driving cars?
Well, yeah, they are. And it's not just a theory. It's not something hypothetical out there somebody's dreaming up. They're actually doing this. And they've been testing it for the last several months, running trucks, actually making deliveries from California to El Paso, Texas, the truck essentially driving itself out on the freeway. Now, drivers are still needed to monitor the systems, to sit there and grab the wheel if something should go wrong. But for the most part, for most of that 600-mile run, the truck is doing all the work. Within the last 48 hours or so, one of the same company's trucks has made an autonomous drive from California, Los Angeles, all the way over to Jacksonville, Florida, 2,400 miles. So it's more than just theory. It's actually coming to the roads.
I would think it would be more dangerous having the trucker there not doing anything, waiting for something to happen, right? I mean, that's pretty easy to get distracted in a cab.
Well, yeah, it's going to take some training, I think, for folks to get used to that, to their new role in connection with this sort of thing. But it's the same thing that pilots, professional pilots, airline pilots go through. The planes, essentially, once they leave the runway and they're up at altitude, the thing is flying itself for most of the flight, and those pilots are there, and the crew, they still need a crew of two to monitor the system. So I think the same kind of training would have to be incorporated into the trucking industry, that you're not getting complacent, you're not dozing off, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. That is going to ensure at least that there are still some jobs out there for truck drivers.
Well, yeah. So what's the end goal? Is the goal for the truck driver to go away, or I mean, what's the benefit of the self-driving car if the truck driver is still there?
Well, I mean, there's a safety factor. I mean, these trucks, once they get it perfected, and we've heard about some high-profile accidents involving autonomous vehicles, but once it's perfected, once it's cruising along, it should be safer. The self-driving, the components in the truck are not subject to getting tired. They aren't going to get distracted, and it should be a safer drive. So, yeah, I mean, there may be some cost savings down the road if, in fact, truckers are relieved of those duties, but at the same time, there is this safety factor that these folks are looking at.
How many trucks are we talking about? How many test drives have they done so far?
Well, they've done hundreds of them, but the one from El Paso out to California, and now this record-setting run, 2,400 miles across the country. This California company called Embark now has purchased, and it doesn't build the trucks, it buys them. I think they're Peterbilt trucks that are then modified and all the components and electronics dumped into it. They've bought 40 of these trucks now, so I think that they're looking beyond the test phase to putting these things on the road in St. Louis and coast to coast.
There you go. Jim Ryan. Interesting. Maybe I'll become a trucker.
It sounds like easy work now.
Thanks, Jim.